Hi everybody, my name is Warren Keating, and I'm an artist on Van Gogh. I'm coming from my studio in Santa Fe here, and I'm excited to have you. I'm going to give you a really quick tour, and then I'm going to do a demo. I'll show you some of my tools first, talk a little bit about my process and the way I do my art, and then I'll do a 30-minute demo, and then we'll have some questions and answers. So I'm really excited to do this, and welcome to Santa Fe. And here's a quick little tour. I'm going to switch the. I have a little Apple laptop and a printer. I make these printouts here. These are from video. I go on bridges and balconies, and I take video, and then I open them up in the computer, and I take the perfect little still frame. You know, the exact gesture of the person. So in my studio I have, you know, some basic little, those are just little tools to write notes, and I sell a lot of work out of here, so I have to write notes and whatnot and do little decorative things to the packaging. But you know, I have, it's pretty much wall to ceiling, original paintings. I carry a lot of inventory because, you know, I sell a lot of work online. I'm at a bunch of different venues. So I do, oops, this painting's supposed to be over here. Sorry about that. So this is a newer, I'll try to show you, this is a newer piece I just did a couple of weeks ago. I'm really happy with. It's from some reference at a crazy museum in St. Louis. And so it's, you know, they had oversized balls in the pit and a bunch of kids playing. It was perfect. Here's a painting I did last week. This is from Paris. This is from Paris. Here's the beautiful New Mexico view from my studio, a little chill area that I like to hang out. I also use this to photograph my work, more paintings, and then here is my easel. I hope I'm not moving this too fast, making you, making everybody kind of dizzy. But anyway, here's my easel. Here's my palette. I got paint already mixed, so we don't have to waste time with that when I do the demo. I use a big giant kind of piece of tempered glass. There's somebody trying to go in my studio, but they know not to. Here's all my brushes. I use these brushes called filberts. They're extra long. I guess they'd be called flats. Egberts. I'm sorry, they're called egberts. They're extra long filberts. Because as you can see, I do like a rectilinear mark. So I need kind of that kind of brush to do that, I've learned. I use really good high quality paint, and here's my palette again. I'll give you kind of a bigger view of kind of the scene here. And that's it. So I will now put this in position so I can do the demo for you guys, and hopefully this is all still where it should be. Oh, perfect. Okay. So for those of you who just joined us, my name is Warren Keating. I'm an artist here, and you're in my studio in Santa Fe. It's starting to get overcast, so I'm going to throw this light on here. And throw my rubber gloves on. I'm going to crank up some tunage. Alright, so I got some gloves on, got the tunage up. I start out with a pretty decent sized brush on the sometimes I even start out with a brush bigger than this, but for now I'm going to start with this one, and I basically try to stay with as large a brush as possible for as long as possible. That's kind of one of my techniques to keep it fresh. Here we go. I'm going to start kind of rough, what we call this We call this blocking in, you know, in the trade. I'm going to do some blocking in. Oh yeah. Here's my reference. This is, sorry about that, we had to reconnect. Here's my reference. See, it's pixelated kind of thing. Whoops, I forgot my, I usually wear a thing. Here's a little apron, kind of protects my clothing. All right. I guess you'd say I sort of work kind of thin to thick, but not so controlled. Like I'll put thick paint on in the beginning for fun, but I do tend to thin the paint down and work up to a really thick kind of, you know, abstract expressionism kind of action-y mark. So you can see I don't really draw first or kind of plot it out. This is Aya Prima would be the old-fashioned kind of painting term. I just go right on the canvas.
Music from Geotheory. Found this on SoundCloud. Before that, found another cut on SoundCloud from an artist by the name of Sorel, featuring Kev. It's called Fragments. It's a brand new single. You can pick this up out of Hong Kong, now based in
even
Boston.
though it seems like I'm being kind of willy-nilly about it, there is an intention to the direction of the marks, and I'm trying to, you know, be loose enough so I accidentally make some mistakes that I end up using in the final painting.
Band into our tiny little studio. But such a great session. That track specifically, Lullaby, always moves me. Also check them out at Coachella. They'll be playing on Sunday the 24th. Should be cool. Kick things off with Lapsley, Love Is Blind, the Sam Galetri remix. Again, she blew us away at South by, and now she's coming through. She's going to be performing on More Becomes Eclectic this Thursday, so make sure you check that out. She's only 19 and so incredible. Looking forward to seeing big things happen for her. Lapsley. My name is Anthony Valadez, sitting in for Jason Bentley right here on Morning Becomes Eclectic. We've got today's top tune coming up from somebody I'm super excited
I put this up a little bit high so you guys could see what I was doing, but I would normally probably not have it this high.
Also, a brand new exclusive from Jameson. It's Morning Becomes Eclectic right here on KCRW.
Today on To The Point, President Obama wants to delay the deportation of 5 million undocumented immigrants. But 26 Republican-led states have sued, and now the question's before the Supreme Court.
I do spend a lot of time kind of comparing the picture to the painting and getting the, I try to get the proportions exactly right.
1 o'clock, right after Press Play with Madeline.
At the same time, keeping the painting loose.
KCRW.com.
So we've got today's top tune. It's a song we make available as a free download. It's incredible. We always give away this free music for you, so make sure you head over to kcrw.com/today's top tune. And I have this great quote: if it's free, it's for me, and I will take 3. So make sure you go up there, go visit kcrw.com and check it out. Today's very own, LA's very own Moses Sumney is back with Everlasting Sigh. He's somebody we love here at KCRW. We call him a local hero, and he continues to fine-tune his sounds and his songwriting skills in a way that's so unique. If you've ever seen him perform live, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. The way he layers all his vocals together is magic, and I think you'll definitely get a taste for that right here. Go to kcrw.com/today's top tune, Everlasting Sigh, Moses Sumney right here on Morning Becomes Eclectic.
So people, I'm fixing to make one of my moves that I do. That's a little bit individual. I mean, some other artists do this, but basically, I spend a lot of time wiping away with a rag. So there was some thick paint, even though I'm working kind of thin to thick, I also sometimes just will throw some thick paint on there just to really emphasize an area. So you have to clean I have to clean the brush quite a bit to have the to go back between the background color and the red. A lot of times I like to mix the paint on the canvas. It gives it kind of a action-y feel. You know, I go over each area many times. I build up layers of paint. That's part of my process. I believe in layering. This is a little faster than I would normally paint, but sometimes that helps. It makes it really free. You can see there's a little lighter area here. I'm adding in. I keep moving around, working the whole thing. I end up spending like, you know, 6, 12, 14 hours going back and forth over all this stuff. think it's time to lay in some pants. Again, with the rag, to, I like to work the rag, get rid of, bring out some highlights. So I mix it up. I'm making shapes of flat color, and then other times I'm drawing and kind of bringing it back to, bringing some definition back. So I alternate between kind of painting shapes and then drawing edges. So now I'm going to do some drawing. sometimes I use my finger. I'm going to switch to this brush. It's it's one of my favorites. I would not normally switch to this brush this quickly, but I'm trying to get something done so you guys can actually see an image.
Music right here from the Picao Rhythm and Still Band. It's called Love Like This, the 45 Edits. Of course, a cover of Faith Evans' 1998 dance floor classic. Again, Picao Rhythm and Still Band. Arthur Verkine is said doing Velo Pare.
So you can see it's starting to turn into something. My idea here, I'm washing my brush. My idea here is to keep the movement going. You know, keep making those moving marks. Try not to compromise on that. And then at some point, you know, later on, 6-8 hours from now, I'll start to find the still areas and the really defined edges. Okay, I can't see that. So all right. Okay. So I just found out that I see there's some questions. I'm gonna do probably another 5 minutes, and then I'll answer these questions, if that's cool. All right, I'm going to answer some of the questions. First thing is, what inspired my style of art? Well, it was sort of accidental several years ago, probably about 8-9 years ago. I was, my wife and I were on a trip to Paris, and I was looking out of over my hotel balcony with a new video camera, kind of messing with it, and I accidentally got this great footage of all these people walking from above, and it was so flat, you know, pure shapes, that I just couldn't help but making a couple paintings of it. I was doing landscapes at the time, selling them online. I was showing in Mexico, so this was a big departure. And the first couple of paintings, I finished the edge. You know, I would make it smooth, like I got video reference that had the jit-jags, especially them because the pixelation, especially them because it was a lower quality video camera when I first started. And I was filling in the blanks and making it smooth, and then all of a sudden I realized, just let it be what it is, and I started doing the pixelated marks. You can go and check out what I'm talking about on my Van Gogh page. This painting will be for sale when it's finished. I'm going to answer a few more questions. A normal, Tim asks, how long does a painting this size normally take you? Well, a painting this size normally takes me between, I'd say, 8 and 14 hours. And the thing of it is, sort of an interesting thing that I do is I work wet and wet. So once I get started, like I got to work till, you know, basically this painting's almost finished tonight, and then hope that it doesn't really dry very much overnight, and then come back in the morning and finish it before my palette and the surface of the painting isn't workable. But I have to work wet and wet, so I just go right through till it's finished, usually a day and a half. This time I put, because it's summertime and the paint's drying fast, I actually put some stand oil in the paint to make it stay wet a little longer. All right, thank you for this seriously cool style of painting. Thank you. Oh, somebody says, I think I know that lady, Lisa Keating says, it's so cool you can see it emerging so quickly. If anybody else has any more questions, now's the time. I'm going to work a little bit more, and then you guys, if you have any more questions, you can ask them before we end. So, here we go.
Do you always paint listening to music?
Oh, do you always paint listening to music is one of the questions. Yes, I usually do. I actually kind of do a little dancing around sometimes, but I'll spare you that. It just kind of, you know, sometimes after about 6 or 7 hours, if I kind of do a little moving to the music, it just brings me right back to life. Keeps me from getting lazy. Because with my kind of painting, you really got to be in it. You got to be action. Every mark has to have a certain amount of energy. And after 8 or 9 hours, that's a little hard to muster. So a little coffee, a little good music, and I'm good to go. I'm trying to see if there's any. Okay. That's it. So if you have any more questions, I'm going to work for another 5 or 10 minutes before we close. And so enjoy it. So this is about the point where it's time to start going back over the first area I painted was the gray. So now it's time to readdress that. I'm going to go back everything over again and again, like 20 times each little area of color. I'm going to repaint and repaint until there's a point at which you can feel like, okay, it's not progressing, it's as good as it's going to get, I have to stop. So you see, I'm taking a moment to redefine the shape as I paint, but also to create new, interesting marks. I'm not just fixing it, I'm also adding to the aesthetic. So again, I'm constantly checking the proportions and making sure and fixing that edge, but at the same time trying to add marks.
You get down, you never run from this town. And I think you said you'll never get anything better than this. 'Cause you're going round in circles. And everyone knows your trouble. 'Cause you're headed in a big boat. And now you're giving me the look. But just remember how we shook. And all the things we took.
Alrighty, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to sign off, but I'm going to keep, working on this all day into the night. Always, refining the edge, finding the spots where I'm going to emphasize, like the hard edge, and de-emphasize the hard edge, meaning, like make it soft on some edges so you get the motion. Always thinking motion, if there are any marks, like I'll make a mark and it won't look like it has the action it needs. So I'll put almost the same mark right on top of it, but with a little bit more energy. So thank you guys for coming, and thanks for your questions and for joining us. I'm going to sign off. If we have any last questions, I will answer them. It looks like we're good. So thanks for joining me again. And a week or so, this will be finished. It'll be dry enough to photograph, and it will be on Van Gogh. So check it out at WARREN. I think it's _Keating. And thanks, Ricardo. Yeah, appreciate that. And see y'all later.